The Penguin episode 3 was an absolute banger. We got some great character moments, possibly a tease of Scarecrow in the Batman Part 2, and so much more. So here's my full spoiler-filled thoughts on the third episode of The Penguin. First of all, Vic straight up deserves the MVP for this entire episode. First of all, starting off with that horrifying flashback and getting his backstory and perspective on the flood and him losing his family was absolutely heartbreaking, but shout out to this actor. He's doing an amazing job as his character. Seeing everything he went through, really going into all the decisions he was trying to make of if he leaves Oz and goes away or if he actually stays with him throughout this entire episode was really powerful stuff, especially during that PTSD scene in the club. I'll get back to that scene when I talk about the possible Scarecrow connection later, because I think that has something to do with the Bliss, but if not, either way, that was a super powerful scene to just show how badly the end of the Batman messed up Gotham City. And honestly, I think it made the ending of the movie 10 times more powerful, actually seeing some of the citizens get affected in real time. Speaking of Vic, I know his connection with Oz isn't a good thing, but I'm not gonna lie, I kind of really love this kind of friendship they have going on, since they both have these disabilities and are kind of viewed as outcasts. The way they're bonding over it, I can't lie, it's pretty sweet. Like, I really like seeing Oz go after the waiter kind of for cutting off Vic and saying like, hey, you have to kind of take up space, don't let people walk all over you. And like I said, coming from the wrong guy, but I feel like it was a decent message. And it kind of made it more heartbreaking when at the end he's talking to him in the bathroom and he's like, oh, Vic, you gotta go now. He starts cutting off Vic. It shows how emotional Oz really is and how he just constantly flip-flops his opinion and his way he acts. See a lot of that between him and Sophia in this episode, how he kind of knows he has to just say the right things at the right time. He starts using his traumatic experiences to get her to really start trusting him, and then obviously at the end that kind of all crumbles, but it was nice while it lasted in this episode. Obviously we know they're pushing Bliss, and this is what I think is a big connection from the series to the Batman Part 2, honestly, if there is one. I'm not saying it's a guaranteed, it just seems very likely. And it's all because of the specific way that Sophia was talking about how they give this Bliss drug, or what it was originally, to the prisoners in Arkham, and how it made them content and submissive and kind of just takes the pain away and takes you kind of out of your mind. Which immediately leads me to thinking, who could be working in Gotham that's distributing this kind of thing? Dr. Crane makes a lot of sense, and maybe he gets his hands on this again outside of Arkham and maybe manipulates it to turn it into some type of fear toxin. But I don't think he's the only possibility. It could also be alluding to maybe Hugo Strange showing up in this series or in the Batman Part 2 in some way, shape, or form as like a minor villain. Because if you don't know, he's kind of this also a genius, and he also likes to dive into the psyche of different people. And ultimately, he wants to control and destroy pretty much the population of Gotham City. And Sophia said, right as she was talking about the effects of this drug and how powerful it will be, is that the person that controls this drug will be able to control Gotham. Obviously, she was alluding to herself controlling Gotham, but if it gets in the wrong hands, because I don't think this is going to work out for either of these two by the end of the series, it could turn into something huge for the next movie. But enough of the theories, let's get back to talking about the episode at hand, because it was great on its own without speculating what's to come, especially the ending with Vic and seeing him leave for once, and it's like, oh, he's finally going to go with his girlfriend and he's going to get on the bus and get out of this life. So he ends up turning around, going back to Oz, and inadvertently ends up saving both him and Sophia, or at least he could have saved both, but now that it's out of the bag that Oz is working with the Maronis, he gets in the car and hilariously just says, leave Sophia behind. Listen, I understand right after that gets exposed, you probably don't want her to be right around you, but I also don't think it was the right decision to leave her there, because you do not want her to be your enemy in any way, shape, or form. You need to do something to salvage this situation, my boy Oz. He was really so close to greatness. He finally had her trusting him. He was just going into this huge apology for everything that happened to her, and then all thrown down the drain. I thought it was an absolute banger of an episode. If you want me to keep doing these recaps, I know I missed the first two episodes, that's my bad, but let me know in the comments below and leave a like on this video.